Hey, hi, hello. Welcome to Diana Emerson. Today we're listening to Text Me When You Get Home. This is Jalajhia Finklea.
18-year-old Jalajhia Finklea is missing. The Bristol County. I know sister was up because she didn't get in touch with not one of her friends, and then for her not to even call me or text me, it's not like her at all.
You probably never even heard about so many Indian women and children go missing. Never heard from again.
Human trafficking is a big concern in Native country. Surveillance showed she left the house with her slippers on, no backpack. Did not look like she was intending to run away.
That's when I started panicking.
The FBI became involved. They then tracked him through all the sources they could. He posted a couple of pictures of Jalajhia, almost like to say she's okay.
And then the entire time I had people calling my phone acting like it was her, wanting a ransom. What the hell is going on?
A young woman is missing tonight after leaving a bar with a stranger, then texting help to a friend.
You are watching her terrifying abduction.
A missing woman's new body was discovered in this ravine.
Miraculously, the young woman survived. There is an alarming crisis of violence, kidnapping, and murder against innocent women. A senseless murder has struck a chord on thousands of women. This has sparked a global movement online of women sharing their own fears. They're united under a hashtag, Text Me When You Get Home, a phrase that women are all too familiar with.
My daughter's name is Jalajhia Finklea, and for short, aka it's Lele.
17-year-old Jalajhia Finklea lives with her mom and younger brother in New Bedford, Massachusetts. Her father passed away when she was just 13 years old.
She's outgoing, not shy at all, and just very friendly.
4 more minutes at school. Okay, bye guys. Let's go home. Finally.
Happy, happy, smiley, lovable.
She was a pretty little girl. She was a good kid.
She told me anything and everything. She didn't have to hide anything from me. I was 16 when I had her, so I'm growing up as well as raising her, so she's more like my best friend too. My little sister.
She was kind of like an old soul. So she knew what was going on. She had a good head on her shoulders.
Her smile just brightens up the whole room. And she helps everybody and anybody. Like, for example, for Christmas, one of her friends didn't have presents. She was giving away all her presents that I had gave her to one of her friends. So I'm like, ooh, I raised her right. I did good.
Dreaming beyond high school, Jalajhia is intrigued by nursing and cosmetology, but she also has a passion for making music, and she's got talent to spare.
She loved to rap and write poetry, and she could sing and dance. They always said she takes after me. But yeah, she's a good rapper, dancer, singer. She could hold a good tune too.
The crazy thing is she wasn't shy getting on stage. She'd get right up there and do her thing. With no problem.
I would see Jalajhia's shows on Facebook. I would see her going at a lot of different places. I was saying, oh yeah, she does sound good. It does look good. She would do it in front of people at our gatherings.
Jalajhia and her family are part of the Mashpee Wampanoag tribe, who were the original inhabitants of Massachusetts and Rhode Island.
We've been living there for many years. That's where we originated from. We were the ones who greeted the Pilgrims back in the 1600s when they first landed in Plymouth.
The Mass Wampanoag tribe, we have our powwow once a year, our gathering, and do socials,
upstairs. It's just like all family usually all together.
Everybody knows each other. They know all your business right away. So, if you go to the store, you're gonna see half of your relatives.
The community is made up of everybody, aunts and uncles, so your kid knows they can go down the street. You're part of their family. They take care of everybody, take care of all the kids.
Native women are 2.5 times more likely than all other races to be victims of violent crimes. But Jalajhia's family feels safe within their tribal community. Jalajhia is just as attached to her iPhone as any other typical 17-year-old.
My daughter Jalajhia loves social media. She loves Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, whatever else there was out there. And she was always on it. Mom, smile for the camera. I'm like, what are you coming on Snapchat? Make sure my hair looks good.
And Jalajhia stays in constant communication with her family thanks to her ever-present mobile device.
Me and Jalajhia communicated through texts, through phone calls, every day, a couple times a day, sometimes too much. For example, she would go to school and she would be on the bus and text me. As soon as she walked out the door, she was already texting me.
Me and Jalajhia text and call quite often, both ways. If she didn't answer the phone, she would text me and tell me she'd get back to me. And if she didn't get right back to me, I would be right back on it again. I'm one of those nosy grandmothers.
Even mother and daughter, they get to their little arguments. If I would call her, she wouldn't answer, but she would text me right away. So she was always good with communication, and she would always be home by 10 o'clock. I wouldn't go to bed until she was in the house safe.
It's the day before Jalajhhia's 18th birthday, and she's home after a doctor's appointment. Her mother, Amanda, walks to a nearby pharmacy to pick up a prescription for her.
As I'm walking, I'm texting Jalajhia the entire time. Do you need anything while I'm out? No, Mom, I'm okay. So then I got there. I was like, okay, well, the prescription's going to be 15 minutes, so I'll be a little bit. She said, okay.
Amanda arrives home 15 minutes later, but Jalajhia is gone.
I checked her bedroom. She wasn't there. I called her. She didn't answer me. I texted her. She didn't answer me. I figured she just went with one of her friends real quick. She like that. I'm calling her and texting her throughout the day. Still no response, no response.
Jalajhia may have headed out to meet with her boyfriend.
I'm sure my daughter had a lot of guys that had crushes on her. But there was this one kid, Mario, that she was dating, and she really liked him, and he really liked her. They were good.
Amanda checks with a couple of family members, but they haven't heard from her daughter.
Then I started getting a little worried, but kept telling myself everything's fine. You know, what's going to happen? She's just out with her friends. I was getting worried when it was past 10. Still no answer the entire day, which is not like her. I slept in her room, woke up through the night. She wasn't home.
It is now officially Jalajhhia's 18th birthday, and she's been gone for 16 hours.
When I called her phone the next morning, her phone was either dead or shut off. So it was going straight to voicemail. Before that, it was ringing throughout the whole day. I called everybody in my family, and then I was asking them, really, what's going on? What the hell is going on?
And I said, I haven't seen her, and she ain't text me, but I will text her and try to call her. Tell her call you, and just kept going straight to voicemail. It was like for her not to call me back or pick up. Nothing. And it was her birthday.
Jalajhia shares her birthday with her younger brother, Javion, which makes her complete silence all the more bizarre.
Thinking, well, I don't know where she could be either. When she didn't return, because she does communicate with her brother. They both had their phone, both talking to each other. So yes, that was a big flag, red flag. She should have been there. She wasn't answering, and she always answers. It was just a question of why.
I was getting worried, but I just kept telling myself she's just one of her friends and she's just being a typical teenager. But when I realized she wasn't even on social media, that's when I started panicking. Because absolutely not one of her friends heard from her. None of us heard from her in the family. But in the back of my mind, I kept telling myself, calm down, she's fine.
It's now been 24 hours since Amanda has heard from her daughter.
I was getting worried when there was still no answer the entire day, which is not like her. So I called the police. I told the police my daughter's been missing since this long, and today's her 18th birthday. And they said, well, because she's 18, maybe she's just a runaway. No, my daughter doesn't have to run away. She can tell me whatever she wants, and she knows that. She wouldn't have to run. And where's she going to run to?
Amanda had called me. She said, they're trying to say she ran away. Jalajhia wasn't the type. I said, she's no reason to run away. She said that's what she tried to tell the police.
Because Jalajhia is now 18 and technically considered an adult, the New Bedford police offer no initial help.
Some of the concerns about her being 18 the next day, they weren't looking at her as a child. They told them come back if she ends up being missing.
So Amanda is left on her own to figure out how her daughter vanished without a trace. Aspiring musician Jalajhia Finklea disappears from her family's Massachusetts apartment the day before her 18th birthday. When police are called the next day, they suspect Jalajhia is a runaway and won't search for her now since she's 18 years old and technically an adult.
She would have called me or texted me or been on, social media. She would have gotten in touch with somebody. I knew something was up because she didn't get in touch with not one of her friends. And then for her not to even call me or text me, especially on her and her brother's birthday. It's not like her at all.
That's just something that you don't do, is just leave your house and just disappear like that without texting or calling your mother to let you know that you were leaving for that long period of time. I knew right off the bat that this was real, that Jalajhia wasn't just gone off and took off and be back the next day.
Jalajhjia's family belongs to the Mashpee Wampanoag tribe, so the tribal police immediately step in to help when they hear about the missing girl.
When I first got the call, I was driving in my car, and I remember I pulled over, and it was one of our tribe members talking about we had a missing child. When I received the phone call the day she ended up being missing, I understood that she had no contact with friends or family. That increased our concern. I contacted Jalajhjia's mother just to see if they needed any help.
Tribal police work cases that take place on reservations. Since Jalajhia wasn't on tribal land when she disappeared, her case falls under New Bedford's jurisdiction, but the tribal police are eager to serve as a liaison for Jalajhjia's family.
I contacted the New Bedford Police Department and talked to the investigator, and I explained to him the concerns of the family and asked for him if he needed any assistance from us, and we'd be available to assist him. Even though it wasn't our jurisdiction, the family and other tribal members are more comfortably calling the tribal police than they are the New Bedford Police Department. Jalajhjia's mother relied on me. I mean, we're family. We're connected. She trusted me that I'm going to be out there fighting to find her daughter, not somebody else that doesn't have that connection with family. I think Jalajhjia's mom was trying everything possibly she could do to get the investigating moving faster, sooner than it ended up doing. She was frustrated, and we could tell that, and that's why we wanted to help.
Jalajhjia's family and friends spring into action to help track her down.
We try to make a plan to maybe get together and do a search party for her.
News travels quick. You just gotta tell one person and to keep off the chain going. It was everybody looking for Jalajhia, trying to contact her. We already know her phone was off.
Just such a big family that there was a lot of people around just trying to gather information, trying to contact her through emails, text, Facebook messaging, and this wasn't getting a response.
2 days after Jalajhia goes missing, the first clue to her whereabouts is found when New Bedford police officially get involved and acquire security camera footage from a convenience store near her home.
Jalajhia left her home at 5:21 p.m. on October 20th. Jalajhia did get in a vehicle around the corner from her home. Her mom had no idea.
Like 3 minutes before I got there.
She left the house with her slippers on, no backpack or anything, so we knew that she was planning on coming back to the house. She wasn't planning for any kind of long trip. Her getting in the vehicle did not look like she was intending to run away.
The video shows Jalajhia climbing into the car with her phone in hand, then having a heated 20-minute conversation with the driver before the car takes off, with her still inside. The vehicle is unfamiliar to the family and they can't make out who the driver is from the surveillance footage.
I don't know of any problems that she had with anybody. I don't actually think she had any problems with somebody. If she did, I didn't know.
The police run the license plate and learn the car is a rental from the Boston airport. The records quickly shift the focus to Luis Barboza, a 37-year-old Florida resident who also uses the alias Luis Zaragoza.
Louis was just a family friend. And he knew my daughter since she was 8 years old. We actually all used to rent an apartment together. We used to be roommates. And when I knew him, he was perfectly fine. We didn't get no bad vibes from him at all.
But Luis had been cut off from the family after he got into a car accident with Jalajhia and other young kids in the car. So he split for Florida, and Amanda hasn't seen Luis in years.
Then I found out she got into a car with Luis. That's when my heart dropped, and I just automatically knew something was up from there. I had no clue Jalajhia and Luis were contacting each other. None at all.
According to police, the day Jalajhia vanished, Luis texted her saying he was bringing her money for her 18th birthday. He asked her to meet him to get the cash. A friend reveals that Jalajhia always felt uncomfortable around Luis, but she felt obligated to see him because he had been like an uncle. So Jalajhia asked her friend to come hang out with them so there would be someone else there. But her friend was unable to make it in time for the meetup. But it's clear that Jalajhia climbed into Luis's car anyway, and since her lack of luggage or even real shoes suggests that she didn't plan to leave with him, Jalajhia is now officially considered abducted, and Luis is the prime suspect.
I would never in a million years thought she would be kidnapped, ever.
Days pass, and as the New Bedford police conduct their investigation, Jalajhia's family continues their own search for the vanished girl.
There was search parties going on. The kids were all going different spots.
Yeah, my family was searching through the woods for her. We was going to like abandoned houses. We was going everywhere.
Local media is also reporting on Jalajhia's disappearance for better or for worse.
18-year-old Jalajhia Finklea is missing. The Bristol County DA says the teen was last seen in New Bedford on October the 20th, getting into a rented dark gray Hyundai Elantra driven by 37-year-old Luis Barboza. The nature of their relationship is unclear.
It wasn't good. It was just sort of the same thing over and over. Just it was news that there was just somebody missing.
And then the entire time I had people calling my phone acting like it was her. They were sick. They were like, Mom, it's me, Lele. And I don't call her Lele at all. And like, I knew it wasn't her because how they were texting me. She doesn't talk to me like that. There's a lot of sick people out there. People from all around the world was just calling us to want a ransom. They even asked me for like cards, like Amazon cards or something.
Jalajhia's family rallies tightly around Amanda as she lives through the nightmare of a missing daughter.
Just let her talk. I don't put in nothing. I stay positive. I said, don't think the worst, you gotta think the best.
She was doing the best as she could. My one concern was my granddaughter, Jalajhia. That's all my concern was.
18-year-old Jalajhia Finklea has been presumed kidnapped by 37-year-old Luis Barboza. Security camera footage shows the two arguing in a car, then the car driving off, with zero communication from the teen after that.
I think social media was the biggest part of this investigation. The family put up posts on social media, and that is when the investigation seemed to start rolling a lot faster. People started calling up, giving tips on where she might be. A lot of those tips ended up being not good tips because some people would call and just say, I saw her in a dream, I think she's by the water. Well, even those, we did investigate those because we wanted to do everything we could possibly to locate her.
By day 3 of Jalajhia's disappearance, a multi-agency investigation has gotten underway.
Once the FBI became involved, They then tracked him through all the sources they could, following his pings on his cell phone and also tolls.
He kept turning his phone on and off. He'd turn it off for hours at a time. So it was hard to kind of keep track of where he is and where he was.
Jalajhia's family is desperate to help bolster the search in any way they can.
There was a whole bunch of us that got together and was searching from when the detective told us where they last pinged the phone. So we went to search some areas.
Location data shows the car initially heads out of New Bedford via Route 140 just minutes after driving away with Jalajhia. The car is later spotted on surveillance video staying overnight at a highway rest stop in New Jersey.
The next day, he drove north to New York City, where his car was picked up in Lincoln Tunnel.
After going off radar, Lewis's cell phone suddenly pings in South Carolina 2 days after Jalajhia vanished. But police still haven't caught up with Lewis and Jalajhia in person. The slow pace of the investigation is beyond frustrating to Jalajhia's family.
It was getting me madder and madder. Like, if you guys are tracking them and you're pinning them, why haven't you got them yet? What are you guys waiting for?
The entire terrifying scenario feels far too familiar to the Mashpee Wampanoag tribal members.
They get missing a lot. A lot of Indian women across the nation. You probably never even heard about so many Indian women and children go missing. Never heard from again. They don't even try to look for them anymore. They're just, I don't know why not. That's how it is with a lot of the police departments around here. It wasn't a priority to them. They don't show up at home and they just think they're out there, and I mean, it's just a family fight and they'll come home soon, and it's really not that case.
Missing and endangered Native Americans do not get the same attention they would if they weren't on a reservation or maybe of a different race.
Human trafficking is a big concern in Native country. We're 10% more likely to be trafficked than any other ethnic background.
The murder rate of Indigenous women on some reservations exceeds 10 times the national average.
A lot of women come up missing and they just never found them.
4 days after Jalajhia went missing, a license plate reader used to monitor drug trafficking activity in Houston, Texas, catches a glimpse of the rental car traveling eastbound.
As the days went, we became more concerned, but we always had hope that it was going to be positive and that she was going to be located alive.
Social media is now inundated with countless pleas for the teen's safe return. But police suspect that Lewis may also be monitoring what's posted for specifics about the investigation.
They didn't want to put anything on the news because then he can go further and further. They said he was a lot smarter than we thought.
Investigators finally triangulate where Jalajhjia's phone last connected with a cell tower and start searching that area. Her iPhone is found on the side of a highway, 5 miles from where she climbed into Lewis's car. Data shows that the phone had been dumped there 8 minutes after the car took off from in front of Jalajhjia's home.
When the phone was found, I felt like maybe it was a good thing that she was still around the area. I think that's what I was feeling. Hope.
After they found the phone, I went down all the way into New York, going off to all the rest areas, still looking for Jalajhia.
18-year-old Jalajhia Finklea has been missing for 9 days when police find her cell phone on the side of a highway 5 miles from her family's home.
She had thrown her phone out the window.
Her phone was off by then, like it was dead, or she shut it off.
Unfortunately, Jalajhjia's locked iPhone only allows police partial access to her data and no access to her texts with Lewis. Investigators combed the area where Jalajhjia's phone was found, searching through woods, trails, and neighborhoods, but still no sign of the missing teen.
The New Bedford Police Department, they were doing the investigation, and I know we just didn't want to go to the area just right now because we didn't know if they were searching, and we didn't want to trample onto any evidence that might be there or anything else.
Jalajhjia's mother still feels she's being kept in the dark by New Bedford police.
The police officer wasn't telling me things at all, to the point that I told him, what if this was your daughter? How would you feel? Because you're not telling me everything that you know. Because I would tell him things, and he was like, everything that you're telling me, we already knew a week ago. So why wasn't you letting me know this information if you already knew? I would like to know that too. Because then you have me out here searching at spots that you had already searched, and we could be elsewhere. No wasting time. That's all I was doing all day long, is trying to find my daughter.
We support each other. When the family comes together, that would help, even though we knew Amanda was upset. So we knew she wasn't listening to everything or paying too close attention, not with it, not totally. She needs a lot of support. We was group text or we just phone call, mostly calling and texting. We'd see the text before we'd see the news.
Of course, Jalajhjia's family is trying to do anything and everything they can to bring home their beloved, smiley girl.
My immediate family, immediate friends were coming. They was helping me, trying to comfort me, and we're all thinking of different things and calling the detectives saying we found this on social media. And Lewis was posting stuff on Instagram, I want to say, every now and then.
The information I was getting about Barbosa's social media increased our concern. You could hear in the text he was writing, he was becoming more agitated.
He posted a couple of pictures of him and Jalajhia, and almost like to say like she's okay, but talking to the family, they were posts that were from way before, not right now at this time.
He would say, "I always love you," which would make us concerned like it was in the past. So we would obviously try to read into that and getting what's going on with him. And then he would drop off social media, then come back with an older video of her. It just was sporadic in and out, and it was just very concerning.
And still no word from Jalajhjia herself.
I kept convincing myself maybe he has her tied up somewhere, and she's just waiting for that moment to get out to call me.
Amanda and the family, they were very hopeful that they could find Jalajhia and that she was someone's out there that she would come back to them.
As investigators dig deeper into Lewis's phone records, they discover he had called 3 different gun dealers in Florida right before traveling to Massachusetts to snatch Jalajhia. Police reach out to Lewis's mother, who hasn't heard from him in over a week, but she does reveal that he has attempted suicide in the past.
Yeah, Barbosa's social media gave us clues on his mindset, which wasn't in the right state of mind.
16 days after Jalajhia disappeared, an arrest warrant is issued for Lewis. The charges are kidnapping and possession of a stolen car since he never returned his rental vehicle to the Boston airport.
I would never think that he would take it that far, but he was deeply obsessed with her, so maybe he took her and wouldn't let her go.
A warrant has been issued for the arrest of 18-year-old Jalajhia Finkley's kidnapper, who was considered potentially unstable and armed. Meanwhile, police have been tracking Jalajhjia's abductor's digital trail from Massachusetts to New York to Florida to Texas and then back to Florida.
They used all their means of tracking his cell phone, tolls, cameras, and that's how they followed up on the investigation and tracked him down south.
16 days after Jalajhjia's disappearance, U.S. Marshals tracked down Louis Barbosa at a McDonald's parking lot in Crestview, Florida.
And they felt like something was going to happen, so they ran up on him. And they said he had no money, no gas, so it was the end of his road.
When officers surround the stolen car, they hear gunshots and immediately open fire. When the shooting stops, marshals find Lewis dead. He had turned his gun on himself and died by suicide.
It was then they discovered Jalajhia wasn't in the car.
They came to my home and told me Jalajhia wasn't found, but they caught Lewis and he had killed himself.
Louis Barboza, suspected of abducting 18-year-old New Bedford woman Jalajhia Finklea on October 20th, was tracked by police to Crestview, Florida. As U.S. Marshals attempted to apprehend him Thursday morning in a McDonald's parking lot, Barboza was armed and died during the confrontation. The missing young woman was unfortunately not found with him. Her whereabouts are still unknown. We'll keep you posted.
We seen it on TV. We seen that they had him surrounded. They had put it on the news. Then, of course, everybody started calling again. Is that the guy? Is that the guy? Saying, yeah, that's the one.
Now, where are we gonna find my daughter? Well, they said my daughter wasn't in the car, so where the hell is she now? How are we gonna find her now? Because I thought they killed him, but it doesn't matter who killed who. He's still gone. How are we gonna figure out where my daughter is now?
Florida was involved in the investigation, as well as the agencies up here in the federal government. They also took his phone to see if there was any evidence. And at that point, families like, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? They wanted answers. They were concerned because of how the investigation started. They thought it was going to stall again and that they would never be able to locate her.
Police retrieve the full contents of Lewis's phone, and his infatuation with Jalajhia becomes immediately clear. He's been grooming her since 2019 by sending her money, buying her gifts, and telling the teen he's in love with her. Police learn that Lewis has also been trying the same thing with other girls in Jalajhyia's extended family.
I guess the entire time he's been cash apping a whole bunch of the young girls, just learning about money.
The final text interaction between Lewis and Jalajhia is about him bringing her cash for her birthday, and her saying she doesn't want to meet him after dark because she doesn't feel safe. Even more foreboding discoveries come as the rental car's forensic analysis reveals blood that doesn't belong to Lewis on the passenger side door and floor, plus blood in the trunk and a bullet round in the passenger door frame that wasn't involved in the parking lot shootout. Police also find counterfeit $100 bills, a shovel, and blood-soaked clothes that Lewis was wearing on the day he snatched Jalajhia.
They continued to look into his phone, and that's when they found other things.
Investigators learn that Lewis mailed a gun from Florida to Massachusetts prior to flying there, likely the same weapon he'd eventually use to kill himself. A review of Lewis's messages shows that he texted, "I'm sorry, I love you," to Jalajhia the morning after she vanished.
What is really going on? I need to know.
The search history on Lewis's phone also shows that he looked up "Does fire destroy blood/DNA" 8 days after abducting Jalajhia. Police suspect that the evidence points to Lewis shooting Jalajhia while they were still in New Bedford before he went on the run. Detectives warn Jalajhyia's family to prepare for the worst. When Jalajhia Finkley's kidnapper dies by suicide during his confrontation with police, there's still no sign of the missing teen. As they await DNA analysis on the blood found in Louis Barboza's vehicle, authorities warn Jalajhyia's family to brace for the worst possible news.
You just get this overwhelming feeling that you know she's gone and that you gotta move on. You gotta go to the next step. Continue on and do what you have to do.
After he was gone, the detective called me and said, "I'm sorry, Amanda, but it's a dead end. There's nothing else." And I was like, "So what do you mean? You're not gonna find my daughter?" He's like, "We don't know where else to look."
With no new clues about Jalajhyia's whereabouts, her extended family's hope is wavering.
Her spirit came to me. She came floating to me and just faded away. But I didn't let my kids know. I didn't want to let them give up their hope.
20 days after Lewis died by suicide, police analyze his phone again. They belatedly discover that Lewis had posted 2 messages in his Notes app 6 days after the abduction.
On November 25th, I received a phone call. They believe that they did find her.
They discovered that he had a suicide note in it, and it explained that when he met with Jalajhia, he got very upset.
and said that she was gone.
In his note, Lewis confesses to killing Jalajhia, saying he simply snapped.
And then they continued to look into his phone, and that's when they found other things that showed like where her location of her body was.
His second note lists turn-by-turn directions to where Jalajhjia's body is buried in the woods in Fellsmere, Florida, more than 1,300 miles from her home. 36 days after Jalajhia vanished, investigators followed the note's instructions and are led directly to her charred remains.
They called me right back and said, we're just going to tell you flat out before you find out from the news or social media that we think we found your daughter. We found her remains. I was like, what do you mean? How do you know it's her? He said, because of the tattoo on her back. Deep down, once they told me Lewis killed herself, I knew Jalajhia was gone. He's not going to kill himself if he didn't do anything, bad.
That was sent home my family, and that's when I got the call that they found Jalajhjia's body. It's very devastating. I mean, I've known Jalajhia ever since she was a baby, and it was hard to hear that one of our sorry, I get emotional. She was a beautiful young woman who had her whole life ahead of her. We all know each other. We grow up with each other, family, kids, and it's just when something happens to one of us, it happens to all of us.
An autopsy reveals that Lewis shot Jalajhia twice in the left side of her head. The man who had once been welcomed into her family killed her the day before her 18th birthday in front of her own home. Then he drove her body across the country and burned and stashed her in an unmarked grave, all as her loved ones desperately searched for her.
I was glad that they found Jalajhia, but everything goes like a black. I knew. But I still had hope, even though I knew.
I have no idea why he would take a young lady's life. What would he gain? To allow himself to take a life and not really pay the ultimate price for it, I think is very cowardly.
I believe Lewis had killed my daughter because he was so obsessed with her. He wanted to be with her and she wanted nothing to do with him. So in his mind, if I can't have you, then nobody can have you.
Jalajhjia's funeral provides a chance for her tribe and the entire community to mourn and celebrate her short but impactful life.
Was a lot of people in it, in the old Indian church.
With our tradition, we will light a fire the day that they pass, all the way up to the day that we bury them. It's like a spiritual fire. Everybody can come around it. They do drumming and singing.
Sacred fire to burn for all the people to send their prayers up to the Creator and to pray for the family, and that Jalajhia can travel on to the spirit world. Because we got so many over there that will greet her and take her, make sure she goes with them.
I don't even remember half of it. I was a mess. I remember walking in and I seen her in a casket, and it was kind of blank after that. The last thing I remember is hugging her casket.
The Mashpee Wampanoag tribe is determined to have something positive come out of the tragedy of a man murdering Jalajhia.
We will not let her death go in vain. We will continue to work hard for women in Indian country and to prevent this from happening again.
The handprint is a hand across silencing the Indian women and children and anybody else who wants to fight for Indian rights and other missing indigenous people. And they got a lot of women and children that are missing today.
There needs to be more education and more focus in the media about murdered Indigenous women. Things are happening in Native communities that are being put to the wayside, and they should be up front.
Since this incident happened, we've increased our victim advocates here in the tribe, and we've also increased our Amber Alert awareness, and we're going to move forward.
Of course, Jalajhia will live on forever in the hearts of her family.
If I could text Liz right now, I would tell her that I love her and I miss her and get home. Right now.
Jalajhia would like to be remembered as a happy, go lucky, always on the move, and always on the top of her game.
She didn't get a chance to even start life really at 17. But I still think she's happy where she's at, too. We don't know, but we just hope that.
I believe Jalajhia is giving me heart signals, little signs to say she's okay. And when I get a little heart signal, I look up and I'm like, thank you, Jalajhia. I feel like she's showing me, telling me that she's okay. She's giving me little heart signs everywhere.
That you are everything that I ever dreamed of it. Hope that love had a happy ending now, baby.